Mr. Fedko, you are saying that this is going to be a short and sweet series for Penguins fans.
It's not going longer than 5, and I think it's going 4.
Wow.
It's not. If it comes back here for a 5th game, it'll end here for a 5th game. I just don't see Boston in the same class. I think the Penguins are going to blow them out. I think the games will be fairly blowouts, too.
Really?
I think this Western Conference final is going to be a lot better.
But tell me about why you're not impressed with Boston.
I think Boston squeaked by a bad Rangers team. I wasn't impressed at all with them. I just think the Penguins are at the top of their game right now. I think the Penguins are their goaltending situation is solidified now. I think Vokun is going to ride this series out for sure and just absolutely be good enough. I'm not afraid of the Boston goaltending. I just think the Penguins are a better team. I just think the Penguins are an unstoppable machine now, and the only thing that's going to stop them is either Jonathan Quick or the Chicago offense. So the combination of those two could stop them and cost them a cup. But that's about it. It's going to take some unreal goaltending to beat them. That's my opinion. And L.A. could deliver that. That guy's got a history of doing it.
Yeah.
And he could put himself into the he could put himself in the upper echelons of goaltenders if he can win another cup. And I mean, a lot of people may not be watching what's going on in the West, but he's playing great right now.
Yeah.
Jonathan Quick's playing great. He's just like he played when they won the cup.
Right.
So he's no fluke. He's for real. So I think it's going to be a really tough Stanley Cup final. And it's going to be a really great one. It's going to be great for NBC. It's going to be great for the league. I just don't see Boston in the same class. I think of all 4 teams left, I think Boston is the one that's just not in their class. I mean, just watching games, it's just, I've watched a lot of games like you have. I watched 3 of the Boston games. I watched all the Penguin games, of course. I've watched a lot of the Chicago-Detroit series. That was a great series. I just think Boston's not in these guys' leagues. They don't have the premier goaltender. I think the Pens are going to just blow through this. They're going to take the first 2 at home, and Boston maybe somehow squeaks one out at home. Maybe. Yeah, it will not go longer than 5. How
were you feeling about the Ottawa series after the close one with the Islanders?
I never was worried about the Ottawa series. I was saying that on this show.
Yeah,
I never worried about it at all, ever even worried it a little bit. Islanders, I was deathly worried about. The Islanders are a great team on the rise, a team to be dealt with for years to come. They're young. They're going to get a new building. That's going to be a lot of fun following those. That team's going to be great. Ottawa they had too many guys injured. They had some great players like Spezza, but they were shells of themselves, and it didn't have the goaltender. So it's going to take an unbelievable goaltender or an unbelievable offense, a superstar like Kane. And again, we're going to get the Hossa story again if you get Chicago. It's going to take an unbelievable goaltender, an unbelievable offense to stay with the Penguins. Chicago's got one, and LA's got another. That's it. I still think the Pens are going to win the cup.
Yeah. Well, what's the
barring injury? Now, that's Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah.
And everybody playing healthy.
Right.
Okay. But I mean, the Pens have. There's been a lot of written about Letang. Letang's having an unbelievable playoff offensively. I think Vokun has solidified their goaltending. Their special teams, I think, are doing great. And you got Sidney Crosby, the best player in the world, and Malkin, one of the best players in the world. And Crosby's now going to get this shield off. I think he's going to go crazy. I think Crosby's going to go crazy now. You're going to see the best player in the game take over, especially in this series. I'll say Crosby's just going to go nuts this series. And that's not going out on a limb, by the way. That's not some major prediction.
No, I have a feeling.
I think it's just going to go nuts.
I feel the same way about Crosby that I was saying to these guys before you came in. Watching as many stars as there have been in these games that have been going on, the Chicago-Detroit series, Datsuk and Taves and Kane and in the other series,
Quick,
and some of the guys on the Kings and even Thornton on the Sharks. I don't see anybody who skates around with a halo on their head the way Crosby does. When Crosby's on the ice, it's almost like a light shines down on him, and you can't look away from him. You can't. It's almost impossible to watch the surface of the ice and not have Sidney Crosby in your line of vision. It's just, and I don't see that with other teams. Maybe I'm having a hard time explaining it. I think he is. There's a gap between him and every other player in the world, kind of like the one that I used to see with Lemieux, where it's not fair that someone plays at that level, can have a level above the level of stardom in the highest level of his sport that you can't even put a name on. Well, that's what I think he does. He gets into the game, not saying he's going to score a goal every game or even have a point, but he's just, when he's on the ice, he's the whole thing. The whole show is him. Well, on the ice. What's he going to do next?
I think this is the series where Crosby wins the Conn Smythe. I think he's going to put out some crazy numbers, and he's going to put himself into the Conn Smythe lead in this series. I think the next one will be a little tougher.
Yeah.
But although I think if you get to Chicago, you're going to get some shootouts. So here's your point leaders right now. Looks like Crosby's fourth.
David Krejci is up there.
Leading.
Good player, yeah.
Malkin's second. Goals, Crosby's first with 7. At least he's tied with Sharp and Dupuis. I mean, I'm seeing Crosby. Let's say here's my predictions for this series. By the end of the series, Crosby will have scored 6 goals. So we'll have 13 goals. And he'll have scored 13 points. So we'll have 30 points. So my prediction is at the end of the series, he's leading 30 points. He's leading with 13 goals, and he's just almost not going to be stopped on the way to the Conn Smythe. Mm-hmm. Now, again, he's going to get into a series against an either unbelievable goaltender in Jonathan Quick, who leads with 3 shutouts. That's not surprising. He leads the playoffs with 3 shutouts. Or he's going to get into a really deep and talented Chicago team that could end up chasing Vokoun. That's why I'm not going to be talking about Fleury right now, because if you get into that finals and all of a sudden they lose a game, which is absolutely possible to Chicago, like 7-1, you're going to see Fleury.
Right.
And then Fleury comes in and they win the cup, and we're not talking about anything next year.
No.
Okay? And that absolutely could happen. They could lose like game 1, like they come out and everybody's talking about how Penguins are going to. Here's my scenario what could happen. Penguins blow out Boston, just annihilate them in 4 games. I predict it's going to be 5 and probably 4. Tough series with Chicago and LA, goes right down to the wire. Chicago somehow wins it. Beats Quick, like 2-1 in triple overtime in Game 7. Game 1, Chicago blows out the Pens. Just blows them out. Penguins have like 5 days off. Chicago comes right in there. Maybe even more than 5 games, because I don't know what the NBC schedule is going to be like. And the final's like 7-1. You're going to see Fleury. You're going to see Fleury the next game, and then the Pens win the cup, and Fleury's a hero again.
Yeah, that.